So we have a new tablet from Xiaomi. This is the global version of the Xiaomi Pad 8 Pro. And in my time using it, this is an excellent tablet, even for people that may want to game, because it comes with a Snapdragon 8 Elite. And it only throttles down 10% in my testing. So it's looking really good. Power-wise, great. Now, Xiaomi sent me not only the tablet, but all of the accessories. So I have the two keyboards, I have the focus pen, which is the active stylus. I'll be covering those briefly in this review. And I'll let you know about the performance you can expect out of this tablet with its 11.2-inch screen. Up to 144 Hertz is the refresh rate. We get quad speakers, we get UFS 4.1 storage, up to 512 gigabytes, up to 12 gigabytes of RAM in the maximum configuration.
So let me show you what you get included. Well, unfortunately, with at least this version I have, which is the European version, you do not get a charger. What you do get is some paperwork and a Type-C to Type-C cable. Sorry, Type-A to Type-C. That's it. We don't get that 67-watt charger that it does support. Starting out with our optional accessories. So our Pad 8 Pro cover here, very good protective sleeve. So it's going to cover the screen, the back of right here, and there's a raised part for where the camera module is. Now, when you open this up, so this part here simply clips on with magnets. The back of it is held in place also with magnets, as you need to flip this part right around. And then what you do is just bend it up like this. It looks a little bit difficult, but you get used to doing this. In fact, it's very easy to do. So there it is. It can prop it and hold it up now. And you can also flip it around and have it up in portrait mode too as well. So very handy and probably well worth it for protection if you don't want a hardware keyboard, that is. So if you type a lot, I recommend getting a hardware keyboard, so much better than on-screen keyboards. This is the Pro keyboard, so one of two keyboards that you can get, optional for it. And it protects the back, camera module also protected. We get a single fixed angle, as you can see. That's where it props up. And then the keyboard itself, good layout, considering that, you know, this is not a lot of space that they do have to work with Xiaomi. Very good quality. It's completely flat, so there's no bounce, there's no flex when you type on these keys. There is a status LED for the caps lock there. It is not backlit. And you see the Pogo port pin connector right there. So we've got the three little prongs. Magnets, again, will hold that into place. And then you have that first angle. And because it is hardware, there is no delay. So we're not going to have latency issues like you may do a little bit with Bluetooth. So it's a nice keyboard. And when you're done, you fold it up like so, and everything is then protected. And no surprise here that my favorite keyboard is the more expensive keyboard, the Focus keyboard. Now, it's a bit of a trade-off because this keyboard adds extra weight with its hinge and the fact that it has a built-in touchpad, but some people might want this. So the hinge feels, it's very good. It's quite stiff, and you've got this part that moves up and down, and you see here that there is this nice suede-like material. So it's all this synthetic style leather here on the back, and then that suede synthetic there too. And you'll see there is our touchpad. And again, the tablet just fits in there with the magnet. So you just clip it on. And you'll see that we do have the different angles. You can have it completely upright. You can even angle it a little bit inwards. And does it angle back a lot? No, that's the limit there. And I think I know why that is, because anymore, it would probably tip over if you tap it. Now, normal sort of presses now, it's not going to tip over. You can see it bouncing a little tiny bit there, but overall not too bad. And I just want to demonstrate very, very quickly here that the touchpad, good. Okay, so sensitivity, they've got right. It's a good balance of not being overly sensitive and not being sensitive enough. And you can see as I move about, I can easily go from one side of the screen to the other without having to do this constant sort of sweeping motion. And speaking of sweeping, well, you do have gesture support with it too. And that's just something that you may like or may not. So depending on what you really want. Do you need a touchpad? Get this version. Do you need this style hinge? Go for this one. Otherwise, get the cheaper model, which is also lighter. So the Pad 8 Pro does weigh, according to my scales, 487 grams. And then if I add our Focus keyboard to it, if you're going to be buying and traveling with both of those, it does push up the weight quite a bit. It comes now 765 grams, which is still fine. I don't think that's bad. For an 11.2-inch tablet, which yes, is smaller, we're still well under a kilo. So I think acceptable travel weight. And as I showed you there in the intro, you probably saw it on top of the tablet, Focus Pen Pro. So an active stylus. It supports 8,192 pressure sensitive levels, and you have gestures. So you can press, pinch either side. You can swipe up and down on it to control various things. So it's a very good stylus, and more on that later in this review as I do a quick test with it. So there's one thing that disappoints me with this tablet, and there's only really one thing that's a downside, and that is the screen is IPS, and that's going to put some people off. Yes, I would have preferred to have an OLED screen or AMOLED. I think it would have been nicer. Now, the refresh rate, it's very good. It's 144 Hertz, so things are fast, and I do like this. The resolution is also very good, so 3200 by 2136. That gives us a very sharp 345 ppi. Brightness goes up to 800 nits. Right now in direct sunlight, it can be made out. It's not the clearest, but you can still make out what is on screen, which is very good. Supports Dolby Vision there as well, and the HDR support all there. And it's 11.2 inches. This is not a bad size for a tablet. I would have liked to have seen slightly larger version, but hey, that may be coming. It has an 85.4% screen to body ratio, and the weight of the tablet, well, it's 485 grams, which I think is pretty good, and the thickness 5.75 millimeters. Excellent. So nice finish to it, although the paint job can pick up a few fingerprints. There's the Pogo port pin connector that I showed you that works with those keyboards. 50 megapixel camera right here. We have the flash and the stylus. You can see it fits on with the magnet, and it's not really going anywhere, but in a bag, you could probably knock that off and maybe have to dig around in your bag to try and find it. So just go back over to the bezels here. We have a quick look at those. You can see that they aren't bad, and we do have here a 32 megapixel camera. We don't have any biosecurity, so you have no fingerprint reader or anything, okay? Face unlocking, yes, just quickly show you that. If we just jump in here, you have the normal typical Xiaomi face unlocking, but of course this is just the 2D face unlocking that we get. So here we can see our power on button, and along with the Dolby Vision, there's also Dolby Atmos with these speakers. So quad speakers here, microphone there. There is also another microphone up here at the top. So they've got a couple microphones. I believe there's 3 in total. That is our volume rocker. And you'll see here the other 2 speakers and our Type-C port. So it does support video out. I have tested and can confirm this. And the speakers, I'll give you a very quick sample of them right now towards the start of the video. They're very good. They have a 200% volume boost, and not bad. I think decent for a tablet of this size. So battery capacity, very good. As I said there in the intro, 9,200 milliamp hours, 67 watt hypercharge, and it is running Hyper OS. Now that's the global search, which I do need to disable there. I keep accidentally triggering that. Now you can have the apps drawer or the widgets, which I have at the moment right now enabled. And I found that Hyper OS, this has been very good, Hyper OS version 3. And I'll just go into the about because we don't have any updates yet because it hasn't officially released at the time of me doing this, but you can see here that it is based off Android 16, which is excellent. Gestures are all working well, and recent apps are swapping around and moving between them. All good, no problems there. So we can, of course, look at PDF files, and I happen to have just a couple right here. So if we're looking at, say, an ebook, it's going to look really good on the screen. I find it's not a problem at all. And nice animations here with Google Play books, when you add ebooks to it or read ebooks through it. I think it looks really good. You don't have to use it in landscape, so simply just flip it around. The accelerometer is working well, and that's looking very, very good there. With that resolution and the PPI being over 300, I think it's 345 PPI, things do look sharp. Now, I will go over to a PDF file here, which is quite a large PDF file, and you can see that performance is good coming from that Snapdragon 8 Elite, and with the 12 gigabytes of RAM. They all get the bottom end models, so starting from 128 gigabytes have 8 gigabytes, up to then the 256 gigabytes. So when you have 512 gigabytes of storage like I do, the RAM then goes to 12. We don't get 16, unfortunately, with this. So when you do first power on the tablet, you get through the initial setup. There are some bloatware apps, and it's not as bad as, say, the Redmi or the Poco kind of stuff you do get from Xiaomi, which tends to have a little bit more bloatware. It will take you a little while to uninstall it. Oh, to touch on one thing with the screen that is very good, it's 90 Hertz refresh rate option as well. So if you want to get a balance between battery life and fluidity, go for 90 Hertz. It's highly recommended, and it just feels quite a bit smoother. I did a test, of course, of the GPS, and, well, there is none. There's no hardware GPS on board, so we don't get this with a 4G or 5G variant. Would have been nice with internal GPS. Would have been great. Then you could use this, say, out on a boat and for navigation, whatnot. Battery life. This is at 144 Hertz, 9 hours and 23 minutes. It's all right, considering the battery is relatively large. I mean, it's quite large. It's 9,200 milliamp hours. So if you want it to be maybe around the 12-hour mark, then put it on to 90 Hertz. That's where you're going to get a bit of battery saving. So charge time from 80%, charging at 55 watts. That's all the charger I have would support. If you do have the correct charger, because we don't get it in the box, sadly. We don't get the charger with my version, at least, the European version. Maybe in other regions you do. You can charge slightly faster, so bear that in mind. It took 58 minutes to go from the 18% to, well, it says 99. It was, in fact, 100 when it finished. So a bit faster with that 67 watt charging. It'll, I would say, probably be around 6 minutes or so then to fully charge it, which is an excellent charging speed. So the stress test here, testing throttling performance, really good, considering how powerful this is. Got a lot of power on this tablet for gaming, and it will only lose around 10% performance. That is it, which is fantastic. They've done an excellent job with the cooling, and you can see that here with the test. So temperatures went from 26 to 49 degrees. 49 is okay. It's when it starts to go over about 53, 54 degrees Celsius, starts to feel a little bit uncomfortable. You feel some heat from it, but not bad at all. Just like this, the Antutu score. So over 3 million points. Very good here. So these are the settings that I'm using, which is the absolute top, graphics quality custom, ultra high for the resolution, and 60 frames per second with the special effects on high. And no, I don't want to change it back, even though it doesn't recommend these settings. Even for a Snapdragon 8 Elite with 12 gigabytes of RAM, this is very demanding, but you can see, looking really, really good. And as I've noticed, it doesn't seem to slow down really much at all. You'll notice a couple of times there'll be a few little frame dips, but you could probably get away with running it like this. However, it will have an impact on your battery, so you probably want to just go with the recommended settings. Still, I'm testing the performance here, and I can tell you, for the recent Android tablets that I've been covering, this is excellent, really good, considering the price of the tablet and what we have here from Xiaomi. The Pad 8 Pro, really good performance for gamers and highly recommended. Now, we have Gaming Turbo or Game Turbo. So if I swipe from the side here, I should be able to bring it up. There we go. And I do have it in the boost mode. You can clear the memory as well, but I have it in the performance mode, which is ideal for gaming. Now, there are some cool things we can do when it comes to the multitasking. So you'll see those little 3 dots at the top. Well, normally when you're in an application, you can go along then and use this to make it split screen or run a window, which I'm doing right now. So you can even have 2 games running if the games do support it. So it depends on the app. So some applications don't want you to run them in a window. So it won't allow that. But a lot of them you can do that. So Chrome and YouTube as well and things like that will allow you to do that. So I can go along and just tap here and we can do the split screen setup. Now that's all good and pretty straightforward. We have seen this all before, right? I'll just get rid of that app there too. But then we have this mode right here. So we can turn that on and this goes into our desktop mode. And this is even better, I think, for the multitasking. So we still have some of those apps open, but everything now that you're going to launch will be run in a window right here. And so we can have games in the background. I think that's, it's just loading in again. So I don't think it's killed off completely. You can also resize those windows. And then you've got your home here and your apps you can bring up like this. So I think it's pretty good. It's quite a cool mode that they have to have that as like a desktop mode setup with a little taskbar along the bottom there. So it makes it easy for switching over to your various different apps. That mode is called Workstation, right there. So you can unselect it and then you'll have it back into the normal tablet mode. Now, the reason I call it desktop mode is that's basically what it is. It's like running a desktop mode. But yeah, they call it Workstation, Xiaomi. So the stylus here, so it has the 8,192 pressure sensitive levels, which is really good. So I'll just do a very, very quick demo here. Bear in mind, I'm no artist or anything, but palm rejection. So that works when it's detected, the stylus, which is around about a centimeter away from the screen. So a very quick little scribble here. I don't know what just popped up there before, but it's a really good stylus. It's very, very fast. Pressure sensitive levels. You can see as I press really lightly, barely showing up there. Harder I press, then more that becomes obvious there too as well, the different pressure levels. So I have to take their word for it that it is in fact 8,192. But I mean, you can see there is different levels there. Whether they're all being detected with Mi Canvas here being their own Xiaomi app, I don't really know, but I'm pretty sure they would. Stylus works right up to the very edge, as you can see there, and well, different tools and whatnot. So it's good. The performance, it doesn't seem to lag, seems to be very good for handwriting. And of course, yeah, again, I can use that in portrait mode instead of landscape and just do another little test there. Okay, so for notes, it will also be excellent for that. So that is our focus pen, well worth it if you do need an active stylus. And as I showed before, it connects up onto the screen like so, and you will see a little tiny battery gauge there that pops up telling you the charge. So right now it's at 96% and that charges wirelessly. So the Pad 8 Pro here with a front-facing camera, we have 1080p 30 frames per second only. It's using electronic image stabilization, so unfortunately there is no 4K with the front-facing camera, but it's only a tablet here. Your mobile will probably support 4K with its front-facing camera, but we get the 4K 30 and 60 with our rear-facing camera, and the quality not bad for a tablet. And these are some samples here of stills taken with that 50 megapixel rear camera. Overall, good for a tablet. So Xiaomi's doing well here and better than most brands at this price point.
So all up, we have a great build quality. The Focus Pen is an excellent stylus. The keyboards are very good. There's a very minor nitpick from me with the Focus keyboard. That's the more expensive one. That's the furthest it goes back, the angle. So that is it, but you can have it pretty much pointing down like I showed before, and a very neat package all up. Really good. Now, the touchpad on it does seem to work quite well. No problems. Typing on excellent, and they've optimized that angle for typing away on a desk, which is ideally what you want to do. Most people will be using this on a desk. You wouldn't really use it on a lap, although you can do so here, especially with the Focus style keyboard. Now, the 8,192 pressure sensitive levels with that stylus seem to be all working really fine. I do like it. And we're seeing very similar before from them. And of course, that is going to be charging there wirelessly, and that all works really well. We have charging time under 1 hour for a 9,200 milliamp hour battery. That is excellent. And then the screen. Okay, IPS 144 hertz is very good, but I would have preferred to see OLED. And that was the same case with the previous models, okay, that I've covered. That I really wish I had an OLED. Still don't have it. I don't know why, but maybe it's something to do with the price point or the refresh rate. Most OLEDs top out normally at about 120 hertz. Maybe that's why, but I would be happy with 120 hertz. Let me know in the comments, would you also be happy with an OLED but 120 hertz instead of IPS 144? IPS also has its benefits that I don't see any flicker at all. We don't get any pulse width modulation flicker at all because that's not being used at all with the IPS tech. So there's that positive. Screen burn as well, not going to happen with the IPS. So there are some pros and cons there, but I still think should have had OLED. But all up, an excellent tablet here from Xiaomi. They've done really well here. So the Xiaomi Pad 8 Pro does come recommended from me. If you're after an Android 16 tablet, you don't mind HyperOS 3, then it's the model to go for.